Meanwhile, in Wellington, many supermarkets saw floods of shoppers stocking up on supplies and retailers and cafes dusting off the old COVID tracing posters and social distancing signs. Despite Wellington only going to COVID alert level 2, some events in the capital are being postponed or cancelled due to the uncertainty of where these new COVID cases came from. Our reporter Logan Church and cameraman Dom Thomas filed this report.
As soon as the Crofton Downs countdown opened, those all too familiar lines out the door started forming as people rushed to get groceries. Packing freshly bought food into his boot, Gary says he's cancelled travel plans due to the new cases.
I thought I'd just do a little bit of shopping because we were going to go away to New Plymouth in a few days, but obviously that's down the gurgler. So it's time to stack up the house again since we didn't have much food in. You know, when you see what's happening in Australia, I hate to think what they're going to find in Auckland.
A few cars down, Diane Parker is also stocking up on essentials.
I thought I'd come and do my Friday shop today rather than when things happen and if it gets bad, I never get in or I have to wait in a line. The queues are right back to the milk line. Like the supermarket obviously are preparing, but they're not quite prepared, for the craziness.
Retail and hospitality businesses across the region have now reinstalled contact tracing signs and social distancing markers on the ground. Michael Gray, the owner of Buzz Cafe in Lower Hutt, is sticking up instructions on seating and service on his front door when we visited.
We've separated tables again, so we're back to level 2 and, it's sanitised all the time. It's 2 metres at the counter, make sure we're serving the people right. With staff, I've met with them and made sure we're back onto track again.
He was gutted when the new cases were announced last night and the subsequent Auckland lockdown. In Lower Hutt, he says many businesses around him were just getting back on their feet and things were ticking along okay. But he's concerned shoppers might keep their wallets firmly in their pockets due to the uncertainty.
Yes, it's going to be limited and people are probably going to spend their money a little bit wisely now. So there'll be a little hold back for a little bit. But let's hope in 3 days they've found it and done something about it.
That's a view shared by Matt McLaughlin, Panhead Tory Street bar owner and Wellington Hospitality NZ branch president.
We're still here in Wellington, we're still open, so that's better than being closed, so we're in a better position obviously than Auckland, but it does mean that our business does squeeze up. I think the biggest thing probably is almost the fear factor of our patrons not wanting to come out. So we can still open, we've just got the 3 S's again, we've got to separate, single server and people have got to be seated.
The source of these new COVID cases remain unknown, although we do know one of those infected travelled to Rotorua while symptomatic. The Director General of Health confirmed if new cases were picked up outside Auckland, a nationwide response was needed. Mr McLaughlin says the impact of that would be devastating.
We're only just getting back on our feet from the last lockdown, and I think another lockdown would see some significant changes in our industry. There'll be a lot of businesses that go bust. I know that people are teetering already and have really struggled through, but we've been able to fight for another day. Whereas if we go into another level 4 lockdown, we won't be able to fight for another day, and it'll be devastating for the industry.
Meanwhile, events in the Greater Wellington region are being cancelled or postponed due to the new cases. Poreroa's Mayor Anita Baker says the council was planning to hold its Love Local Expo this weekend, an event aimed at boosting the profile of local businesses after the first COVID lockdown.
We've postponed our Love Local Expo. We will have it again when we get we'll get back to level 1. We've had over 130 businesses get on board. We're asking people to still support the local businesses because buying and selling in Poreroa is really important for us.
It's now a nervous wait for non-Aucklanders, while the Ministry of Health tries to figure out how far, if at all, COVID-19 has spread. For Checkpoint, Logan Church.